Who remember? Gomo, thanks very much indeed. Brilliant. Thanks for I didn't realise when I took over that it hadn't been done. Beg your pardon. What, on this one here, Jethro? Yeah. But yeah, should be coming off, but then I'm not sure it's going to break through. I'm not sure it's going to be enough impetus on a quietish day going into the weekend and half day in the Thanksgivings, you know, to push it down and break this. Well, I might be wrong, but I'm leaving it alone anyway. Yeah. So yeah, I think just stay cool on that one. If you want to do it, it's your money, your choice. I'm just putting my half pence in. Yeah. Any opinions? Anyone want to buy or sell it now? That's just my opinion. Anyone else? Is it forum guys join in? I need your moral support, guys. Anyone want to go for a buy now or sell now, or are we LIA it? £1 profit, that's all right. Like some guys have deposited that in their account to trade with. Well, one guy, to be fair. Anyone want to do this one? Or are we leaving it alone? Let's get some consensus on this. Yeah, you could point there, actually. Okay, leave it alone, yeah. So I don't like the yen. That's the way of putting it. It's just they've got such massive, one of the highest debt GDP ratios in the world. Well, they've got the highest in the world. I don't know about Zimbabwe or Ghana or the Central African Republic, you know what I mean? But the known economies, by far, it's about 250% or slightly less now. So as a result of it, so much debt, they can't have higher interest rates. They're restricted in curtailing interest rates like everyone else by increasing them. So that ties the hand behind the back a bit. So they've got to try and export out of it. And if you've got a sort of big debt economy, it's not that easy. And so the only way it's going to help them is that brand. Yen has got to weaken a bit. And I think the Japanese government weren't happy at 150 on the dollar, but I think they don't want it getting back to 130 or 120 because then they won't be able to export. It'll be too expensive, especially all the competition they're getting from the other Asian tiger economies. So it's not just because I don't like it particularly, or I take a joke, I get that. But I'm trying to give some sort of rational reason behind it. And so I think still see that I'm not that back in the yen for those reasons. They did indeed. They did indeed. They pushed it a little bit, but not much, like Switzerland did. That's why it had such an enormous effect on it when they put about 0.25%. Because for Switzerland, that was a very large differential. Germany at one stage did slightly minus as well. So you pay the bank to save your money. Incredible, eh? And of course, you have interest rates like that. You would not pay cash for it. Why would you pay cash when the money you borrow is cheaper than cash? So clearly, you're going to have debt going through the roof. That's why they had to make a plan to a certain extent, but they are limiting. They brought that debt in their own problems anyway. So, yeah. When you get those sort of situations, they're asking for trouble down the line. To me, that's just kicking the problem down the line. Hey, come on, guys. Are you going to pay your own good hard-earned cash for something when it's cheaper to borrow? Clearly not. In other words, you've been sold debt. Crazy. Yeah, it was negative. Difficult to believe. Yeah, quite right, Jethro. Negative interest rates. Unbelievable. Someone's mentioned on the WhatsApp today, which I posted, about a backwardation. I just want to explain that so you know what it means. You have a spot price and a futures price. And the futures price, let's say the spot price is now, and the forward or futures price is 3 months' time. There's usually a differential in the futures, which is usually a higher price. The reason being is you've got all that cost of holding it for 3 months. In other words, cost to carry is the proper terminology, where dividends interest rates are in there, so it's going to be a slightly higher cost. That makes sense. And they call that in contango. There's a nice fancy word for you. So the normal area is when the futures price is higher than the spot price, contango. Occasionally, and the difference is by the basis. Occasionally, the basis between the two goes into where the spot is slightly higher than the futures. And that very often it does happen. they call that backwardation. So now you know going forward. And that was an indication on gold where the spot is actually slightly higher than the futures price. It could mean, in theory, a move up on the gold. That doesn't mean to say that's just an indicator, maybe to go long on it. And my worry about that is I know the interest rates are low, and I know that the we're talking about it. I know the interest rates are low and the yields are fairly low, but is that going to be sustained? And I think that won't be sustained. So I'm not sure I'd be going long on that despite that. Okay, so just throwing that bit of the knowledge for you. So then we see contango or backwardation, know what it means, and now the spot and futures price. If you still don't know, Google it. It's important to know it. I should do knowledge, you know. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to buy it. I still think it's going to hold there, but I want more information. Probably not till Monday whether I'm going to do it or not. Okay. You're joking. Probably joking, can't be. Well, AUD 8, 7 pips still in the, sorry, it's more than that, 9 were here. It's 9 pips in the negative. And that's still in the negative, minus 38 pips. I didn't do US dollars Swiss franc. Somebody else might have, I didn't. I certainly didn't do that one. US dollar JPY I did, yeah. But I'm not sure joining it now. Well, she's been moving up a bit, yeah. What are we getting on actually? 139, so it's still 30 pips in the negative. But I didn't put that one out on my group. That was just pure on the TR. But those three are still in the negative. I've got me quite excited there, Mr. Watts. Or got in correctly, I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, yeah, which was true with 8. Okay, yeah, where was I? So yeah, there we are. You look at your shares later. If you want to modify, close, or do anything, take your opportunity on opening or just after opening, give it a bit of a chance, see how the land lies, and they can play around with it. Okay. The S&P one, we looked at maybe a bit more downside. S&P, I think, was slightly up again. That's hovering a little bit. See, it's hovering. So it's battling to break that 200. That's why I was feeling it's going to continue to battle to break it. So I'm not confident on the commentators cursed to guys, but I think it's going to come off from there. So the guys who went long in it, I seriously think you should move your stock to protect yourself, because it doesn't seem to be our benefit. Hang on, here we go. Sorry, if you want to talk, might need to unmute you. Okay. Where were we? Yeah, battling the breakthrough there. And it really is battling, but it's not pulling back at all. It's still around about the 35 mark, which it was last 24 hours. But is it going to pull back or breakthrough? We shall see. But I think it might come off from it. We'll see. The problem with scalping on Jethro in a slower market means it's going to be like a long time scalping. The idea of a scalp is you want quick movements, you're out maybe half an hour, or something like that. If there's very little movement, you could probably be sitting in that scalp, to be honest. I take it if you want to take a fairly vicious one. Oh, here we got the old load shedding now. That's the genuine load shedding just kicked in. Where was I? Yeah, if you want to take something like the NAS, which is a bit more volatile, except when American markets are closed, maybe you got 14 pips spread on that to take into account of. Maybe get a bit more action there. But let's say you're on this one here. Let's say you're scalping, maybe on the hour for a scalp. Let's have a look what you got to play with. Maybe about 50 odd pips, and about 40 of that is going to be the spread. You know what I'm saying? Scalping is when you get when you want movement. Bottom line, you want movement and you want to get your profit and get the hell out of the market, like stay with all these miracles happening. But if it's just sitting there, you might go out and come back and still lose 3 pips. You get my point. Okay. It just happens. Sometimes you get a losing day. Sometimes you get a watching paint dry day. It happens. In other days you really got to be on it because the thing's moving and you got to hit it when the iron's hot and make sure you're not missing out. Because you really got to, adrenaline's got to flow because you want to take advantage of it. It's all moving, you want to be on them. And it's almost phenomenally great. But then you really want to be on the ball. But times like this, it's just going to be a bit quiet. That's why I say if you want to look at trades, that comes first. We've gone over the few of them there. We've got the economic calendar. I think it's a fairly quiet day again today. German GDP, is that coming out? So second, or the chat line's all the way. I can't see it on the other screen. Just give me a moment here. Euro, it's already come out. Yeah, it's not come out. 0.4% GDP and expected 0.3%. So GDP was a little bit better. So you might have had a little bit of a kick in the euro. I don't know. Look at the euro dollar. But that's all. That's all for the day. Now, sorry. Now, to me, again, that's what we call technical damage. It's gone down to the buy zone. We've been buying the dollar, selling the euro for quite a while now, as we all know. Sell the rally, etc. Now it's gone from the sell zone through the neutral. Now it's opened up in the buy zone. I'm still a bit nervous of it. A little tiny bit of good news there for the euro, but didn't have much reaction on the daily. Let's put on the 15 minutes how it reacted. What's this now? 9 o'clock was around about there. Chopped around a bit to come off. Didn't seem to make it. And maybe it's Germany. It's not the euro. It's just one economy, or a big one in the eurozone. Don't forget that. But that technical damage means that's now in the buy zone. The next question is, do you want to buy the euro at this height now against the dollar, which it personally has been overcooked, oversold? You know what I mean? So I look at the indecision on our 10-hour candle on there, and yesterday's indecision. Again, believe it. Good for you, Pete. That's what I want to hear. 2 reasons. I want it to go well, and I want to be right. I want Jethro to be wrong who's shorting it. There we are. Now I haven't got Zeph to pick on. I'm picking on Mr. Watts. Oh, no. Damn. Now from good news to bad news. Okay. I thought I could be teasing you on that. What a disappointment. Good morning, Stevens, or Sheffield, I should say. Right, so for that reason, I'm leaving that alone, but some guys might see this as a buy. Who won, Jethro? Anyway, whatever. That's my reason why I'm not going through it. But anyone will disagree, and we'll see that technically speaking, I'm going by the technicals and want to buy it. Any comments there? What do you think of the comments? Just want to mention anybody on here does not have the link for the dollar index for the economic filtered calendar, which is very important, and the yields on a 10-year note. Anybody not have them, and I can copy paste for you to have them. It takes 2 minutes. That's all it does. If you don't tell me, I assume you've got it. Don't sit there without it. It's important. If you've got it, obviously it doesn't matter. So just bear that in mind. Let me know, and I'll copy and paste. You play around the 5 minutes. I can't see why, but that's up to you. But anyway, you do that. Just do it quickly. This is the dollar index. Just going to do this quickly. Copy and paste it. I'm going to leave it alone. So anyone want to do this one here? I'm an LIA. Sorry, wrong one. Put it on to you until you have to do it again. Just a second, just put everyone in the meeting, should I say. There we are. What's the other one? Economic calendar. If you want the heat map, I'll do that as well. Yields on the 10-year US note. Say, if you have any use, I don't use that often, but if you want the heat map, I'll put that on as well. Just let me know. There you are. Okay, leave alone, see the consensus. Oh, I quite agree with you. Hey, you're learning, eh? You only did about a month or so, you're learning. Brilliant. Technically a buy. Why am I leaving it alone? I think that euro might be slightly overcooked, but more the point, I think the dollar is a bit oversold, and it's indecision candle today and indecision candle yesterday, and that's why I'm a bit nervous on it. But if you want to do it, fair enough, Pete, that's up to you. You know how to do it now. Go to your calculator and do your thing. Okay, right. So anyone want to move on the dollar yen? We go back as well. Anything happening on the Swiss S&P? Still hovering, doing nothing. Trying to move up, but is it going to be sustained? So it's not really getting going. You know what I mean? It's got to take out 139 to get going. Okay. Zef's come to join in the party. Let's have a look at JPY. I was tempted down this sort of area to buy it, but this has been taken out, so I thought I'd hold 5. I'm not too sure. I thought maybe get it down here because it looked like it was coming down yesterday. But it's not getting, look at this. It's not really getting any momentum. See what I mean by the wick, guys? That's why I look at the candle. The wick is telling me no follow through. If it pops up, the sellers are coming in again. So is 104 going to hold before we have another move down? Again, like Sean says, I don't want to miss out this one. I want to buy it. I want to buy the dollar yen, but I want to be prudent on it and not try and get ahead of myself. As I think Pete was saying, I'd have something against the yen. Well, I do actually put a joke onto it, but I'm not sure I have that much against it. I want to lose money on it. So I think I'm just going to hold there and risk missing out. Okay, but I've got a strong eye on it. Okay. Now, some guys coming around to sort out my inverter. I want to mention this today. Renew the battery because it's a quite expensive, fairly new instrument. Shouldn't be giving these problems. So getting it sorted out later. Having said that, it might not last an hour because I've got the Wi-Fi on, I've got the Zoom on, I've got the 2 monitors on or whatever. So it might start squeaking at me just before 11. If that happens, have a great weekend before I get cut off, and it'll come back on again just after 12. So hope that converter gets sorted out today, and we'll have that problem going forward. Okay, just bear that in mind. Okay. The previous problem I had earlier on was that set my internet provider. That was nothing to do with load shedding. It's back up and running. Just so you know, nothing to do about it. Frustrating though it is, not our fault. Okay, all right. That's about all I can offer. I mentioned in the room this morning, the strategy room, I couldn't find anything going into the weekend, but did come to GBP CAD. I said I'm shipping out on that one. I said I ain't going to post it, but if you like it, go for it. What's happening on this one? Is it doing well? The guys might be missing out, but anything happening on it? But, what was the entry? I can't remember what the entry was on that. But anyway, it's not seem to be happening at the moment, but it's not going negative or positive. Solid Latin, but that's not surprising. Yeah, CAD JPY. Keep an eye on it, guys. Keep an eye on it. If we could hold 104, I think we might get some follow back up here somewhere. But 104, in my opinion, has got to hold. And I don't like that candle. Let's try a shorter term one. Yeah, see, it's coming off again. Get my point. I want you all to understand we're learning here, like Pete's just done there, and some of the other guys. We want people to say, after being here about a month or so, to get the hang of it. So they can come up with ideas, do their own calculations, come up with suggestions. They're learning how to fish. They're not relying on someone to fish for them. Fortunately, the majority of the clients we've got are putting very little money in, putting no effort into the knowledge, hoping we're going to fish for them and produce a something for nothing miracle. That, unfortunately, usually ends up in tears. And we had one guy, I won't mention the name, kicking up because he didn't get stopped out. When I mentioned about the stop, it went through his stop. We got stopped out and he lost 30 rand, I think it was. And he started saying we're scamming him, etc. Well, first of all, please, guys, use some intelligence here. A multi-million corporation ain't going to lose its trading license to scam you for 30 sodding rand. So please, you know what I mean? Number two, a stop loss is not guaranteed. if a bomb goes off in Canada or Japan or something, and you got a stop loss here and it flies down, there's no buyers or sellers. The stop loss is purely a buy or sell order. You know, I can say my house is worth $1 million until someone forks out $1 million for it. That's in my head. So if that put a stop loss in there and something goes off that's drastic, which happened in gold yesterday, something jumped on peak, dropped down, and then boost up again. It went through the stop until the buyers and sellers came in. Remember, a stop loss and a TP is a buy or sell order. It's a buy order if you're selling short. It's a sell order if you're going long. It's not guaranteed. I know IG give a guarantee in it, but you pay for it. And I think it's like buying a warrant on a fancy car. I don't think it's worth it. It's so rare on small accounts. Let's say small, it's $1 trillion setup list. Most people, even what they consider big, are small compared to the markets and the forex. It doesn't happen very often, very rarely. And I think it's wasting your insurance money personally, but occasionally it did. And he's got upset over $30. I mean, it might be big money to him, but trust me, it's not big money to us. And we ain't going to risk our license because we're going to crown screw for $30. And that kind of thing just shows the person isn't thinking. You've got to try and be a little bit rational on that. We've all got our price. So if you say, right, $10 million, turn the other way, I'm afraid to say we all got our price. We ain't going to turn the other way for $30, trust me. What makes you think that? I'm tending to go a little more on the Pete's side on that one. I think it's a possibility of a short on this one as well, to be honest. I'm not sure. Remember, the trade wars are still not. Sorry, the COVID problem in China is still there, and they got a fat trading agreement with China. So what affects China affects AUD, and AUD is very small. Well, very small. It's small in comparison to China's and economy size. Should be. They got about what 20, 30 million people. What 20 million, 15 million? What Aussie got? They got over 1 billion. Slight difference. So I think the dollars are said a bit oversold. I think the Aussie is a bit overbought this one. I think it's a possibility of something coming in there as well, to be honest. But it's not getting any follow through. That's my only hassle. That's why I'm a bit iffy about it. Yeah. But I tend to be leaning towards Pete on that one. Whether it went bad in the past or not, Jethro. I lost in the CAD JPY last time, so I'm not doing it again. Or hey, one the last time, I'm doing it again. That's got nothing to do with it. That was then. This is now. As Wayne McCurry says, he's the fundy, the pundit or whatever on the business day. And he says, what you bought the share for 10 years ago, it's got absolutely nothing to do with the price of it. It's what the price is now is everything. And we say, no, I don't want to sell it now because I bought it for 50 last time. Now it's 40. Well, it could come back to 30, 20. What it was then is irrelevant. What the price is now is relevant. Just remember that. You can have it. We don't have it. You can have it. But if you go to IG, the cost is not any higher, and you pay for that guarantee. And it's like you pay for anything. They're not giving you that without something in for them. And 99.9% of the time, you're not going to use it. It does actually occur. And it's not worth it on small accounts. You know what I mean? Guys go in, they want to buy robots and everything. You look at their accounts, they're about $1,000 or something. And I thought, my goodness, it's just lack of thought, basically. Guys on big accounts, you know, like R1 million accounts, etc., with very large positions, or reasonably large positions, not very large compared to America, pretty large positions, might think it's worth the extra little bit of insurance policy to cover it. But the liquidity is such for guys with small accounts. The one time it happens where they lose 30 Rand, wouldn't make up to that couple hundred Rand they paid in insurance costs for it. It's not worth it. And that'd be like people buying robots. They're not just not thinking. Well, how do you buy a robot on a couple of grand account? First, you pay for the robot, plus you haven't got enough money for the drawdowns on it. Again, it's this attitude, it seems to be, especially for people who don't think too much, of something for nothing. It does not exist. Nobody's going to give you something nothing. You know, you've got to work it out. What's the other person want if they're giving you something? Must be something in it. Or make your own bot if you've got the brains. If you've got the brains to do that, they wouldn't be asking these kind of questions anyway. And remember, it doesn't have, you can't think like a human. You can't say, oh, I'm not going into this because the CPI is coming out in half an hour. You know what I mean? They don't know the change of trend until the indicators tell them they're lagging. And then what they do is they buy in again. So you get in there and it comes off a bit, buy in again, expecting it to go back the same way, or vice versa, which is fine. Works quite a few. I know a few guys do it, but they've got $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in their account. Not for guys that will respect very small accounts. It's not worth your while. Okay, just bear that in mind. Fear overcomes the rational. Oh, I want to do this, that, and the other, but you get your knickers in the twist about something that's really a cut on the finger. It's not an amputation job. Put it in perspective. Okay, a ball clear. And remember, if you do go to IG, and probably others, I know they do it, costs are much higher, and they're a bit more stringent before they're allowed to trade. You've got to have certain amounts of money, you've got to pass certain tests, you've got to know what you're doing. Don't get involved with guys who haven't got a clue, basically. I tend to agree. Overseas, you're not allowed to do it unless you pass a test of knowledge, that you know what margins are, you know, in highly speculative, how it's leveraged, you've got to make sure to know that. Or they're quite strict on the legality of it, so bear that in mind. So, as you know me here, trying to get guys not to make things worse if they at least can afford it by looking for something for nothing, because it's going to make their problem larger. Got no knowledge, no money, no idea, no mathematical nous. This might not be for you. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to say that because they want to be polite. And then the guy loses money, and you know, it's not good. I'm not trying to get some credibility in what we do here because I believe in it. It's been good to me, so but good to me because I made the effort. Okay, right, Tesla. Yeah, still a rally. That's the name of the game. I still see the market still not out of the problems. It has a rally, sell the rally. We're still in the bear area. Whether they admit with recession or not, that's questionable, but it's still not out of a bear area at the moment. Sell the rally. And Tesla's got a lot of ifs and buts attached to it. So if you want to do Tesla, sell the rally. I personally try and get a better price. Maybe get up around about the 190 odd mark, sell it down again. Yeah. But look at the situation it comes. That's why I don't like pending orders that much. If you put in a sell at 190, the situation's changed. You've got a big order coming in of 1 million cars or something, and that pending order is going to go shooting up and grab you in. Yeah. So yeah, just check the situation at the time. But I'm looking about maybe to get 190, maybe sell it again. Okay, good. Right. Sort of hinted in the morning thing about the backwardation and contango thing that I talked earlier on about the gold. All of that's come off a bit. So it's probably now gone back into what we call contango, where the spot is lower than the futures, which is more normal. I'm still a bit nervous about shorting here. There's not enough stuff out there that's giving me enough impetus to say it's going to break down much. And there's not much happening. It's a bit quiet, so leave it. If you're a Tesla fan, go and buy it, buy the car and sell the share. How's that? The only trouble over here, of course, you don't have enough top-ups for it. So you can run out of battery halfway down to Cape Town. What are we going to do then? This is a hybrid. I'm speaking from a position, of course, I'm in Joburg. Obviously, other guys aren't. I tell you what, this is like bloody paint drying. God, it's still stuck. Nothing's happening. Look at that. Let's look at the 15 minutes. 4 pips in the 15 minutes. Look at that. Look at the hour one. Yeah, 4 pips on an hourly range. Unbelievable. I'm wondering, Clinton, you know about your cars. You're a tech guy. Do you think the guy is because he's in love with electricity and Tesla, or do you think he's just showing off? Because I don't know. I mean, you know more about it than I do. What's the story there? I mean, how's he going to, unless he's just popping around town to show off, and then obviously going to top up back at home, I presume. But I don't think there's enough rechargeable battery points to make it worth your while. What do you think about that on such a you're okay? Right. Okay, there you are. It's nice to get the facts, eh? You think that bloody show off, and meanwhile back to the ranch, he's actually a businessman trying to do the job properly. Well, that's fair enough then. Good, thanks. When did you see that alert? I posted it yesterday. I didn't post it today. Maybe somebody else. I don't know. I didn't post it today. Anyway, you want to short this one? Let's have a look to this again. EuroCAD. So where is it now? Can't find on the bloody chat line. Who said this? Anyway, EuroCAD. You want to short this? Who was that? Right. My question then is, why do you want to short this? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, that's true. What do you expect, Jeff? I mean, you know, so I tease you because clearly you know what you're doing. It's slightly different. Got to help people who are learning at the time as well. Clearly, the guys who are doing, we can discuss and fight it as a trading room. They can help me and help everybody else. But we've got to be a little bit careful, the newer guys, because they'll go in at directly on that without knowing the ifs and whens and buts, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's fair enough. You thought it out. That's experience, but we're trying to get the guys to get to that. Okay, now, sorry, who asked that? EuroCAD wants to sell it. I just want to find out what makes you think it's going to go down or what makes you go up, whatever. Just want to find the guy. Who was it? Can't find who it was. Oh, it was you. Sorry, Jeff. You want to sell it. Why do you want to sell it there? Zeph, you still there? You busy? Because I know you're often doing work as well. What fib? Let's go on the weekly to get a fib on that one. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. On the weekly, you find the 618 fib seems to be holding at the moment. On the daily, clearly it's in the buy zone. Let's go back to the daily. Clearly it's in the buy zone. That is holding. I get you completely on that. There's a 618 there. But there's no evidence yet of confirmation pullback till it drops below 1.39. Just Zephyr's, I know it was you, because I get a lot of guys saying, why do you want to sell it? Because it's so high. That's why I purposely asked the question. You want people to get away from that thinking. Let's tell NASPERS, remember the old days of JSE? What, the old days when we had the JSE shares. NASPERS, £1,000, it's high, let's sell it. Eventually went to about £4,500 a share. You get my point. So that's not good enough because it's high. But it's you, I know you know a bit better. But for everyone else, just because it's high, let's sell it. Not necessarily so, you know. But anyway, yeah, the 618, it could. Let's see if we put this holding there yesterday. It's not getting any confirmation at the moment. I would wait unless you. This is really random stuff to preempt that. Expect it to hold or sell it now. If it does come back and break down there, it might be a basic an overvalued pullback. Even though it's the spinning chart, see that. Even though it's in the buy zone, it can be overvalued or undervalued in the sell zone, and that's why you buy in the sell zone and selling the high zone. That's why, and the fib could be quite a strong resistance. Personally speaking, I would wait for confirmation back below 1.39. That's preempting it. And remember the CAD yen, I think it was Clinton said to me, just hang fire a minute, let's just see if that's going to hold. And it didn't. So, saved me from myself. But 104, I thought it's looking like a possible good bounce, good cheap price to get in. Just wait to get the confirmation. Thank you, Clinton. And look, it came below that. So, yeah. Spinning tops indecision. I like all these fancy names, but I prefer to call it plain English. Indecision. Fence sitting, if you like. It was definitely long at the moment, but is that going to change? Is it overvalued? That's the question. That's not confirmed yet. Okay. So that's my stand on that. Zeph, any other comments? Pleasure. Right, look at this one. This is one of my favorites as well. As you know, I've got Pete, you're right. It's hate to the yen and my love affair with the Rolex country. Okay, but again, ooh, is it getting going? What I want to do is buy it, by the way. I think 4 out's not exactly very strong, is it? No, leave it alone. Not happening. Maybe the range trade there. I never missed it either. CAD JPY I've looked at. Okay, let's go with the AUD again. See what's happening. Anything happening? Was looking, coming off a little bit, nearly breaking. Is he going to break back down? That's my worry. If that holds, we've got a problem. AUD CHF is coming back off. Is he going to get back to profit? I'm getting nervous of these two actually. It's only 18 pips in debt. The other one's 3 pips in the negative, which is not too bad. GBP CHF, the other one's a bit late now. Most have stopped out. It's coming off a bit. Is it going to be maintained? Dollar yen, what's happening there? See, it's not getting going. See, it's up to about nearly 80 just now, wasn't it? On the one, oh, yeah. Not getting going, leave it alone. It's ranging, yeah. It's indecision, that's what it is. Ranging means it doesn't know what it's doing. And I'm prepared to say pretty thin trading, not helping the cause. Volumes are down. Okay, you got stuff to do. Thanks, Jethro, as always, for your contribution. I want to mention something on the ZAR. Do not forget, if you want to trade the ZAR, the costs are higher. We talk about the majors, the crosses, and the exotics. You've all got to know what that means. The majors that all against the dollar is the yen, the Swiss franc, the euro, which is the biggest of the lot, and the Japanese yen, and the pound, sorry, the pound, those 4 there. The crosses are where you include the Canadian, the Aussie, and the New Zealand. The rest are called exotics. The rand's an exotic. The result of that means it's got higher costs. It's around about 12 pips. So you've got to take that into account. And a lot of guys don't know that. And then they find they're taking profit too quick and they've hardly covered their spread. Or it's getting going and nothing's happened. It's still in a minus. So be careful of it. And it can be quite a problem in the fact it's not just based on what's happened with the dollar. A lot of problems happening with the rand as well. So you've got a double whammy on it. Yeah. So I do see a bit of weakening going forward. But I think it's better fish to fry. So I keep an eye on it because, you know, a lot of guys need to know what's happening with the dollar and exchange rate anyway. So keep an eye on it. I don't look at the euro ZAR so much, the pound ZAR so much, to be honest. But again, their spreads are floating, and sometimes I've seen some 18 pips spreads on them. So you find better stuff. The costs are hectic on it. Just bear that in mind. If you want to trade it, you know what you're doing, you're experienced at it, of course you do it. But if you're not, just bear in mind those costs are there. I was shocked on that, Zeph. I'm happy you were shocked on the right side. I didn't get there. You were long on it, and I agree. Sorry, you were long on it, and even you thought it wasn't going to get there, and I thought, hang on a minute. But yeah, look, just shows, isn't it? Yeah. I think that's seriously overcooked. This nerves are short at the moment. There's a daily. It's not quite got there, has it? But it's not. You see, look, it came off a bit. I'm just giving a bit more information there. But it's not happening. It's trying to go up, and then the buyers are coming in. I think it's having an attack on that, and then I think it's going to come off. I think it's going to hold. Like in the S&P 500, I think the 200-day is going to hold. I think that's overcooked. I think the dollar's undercut, and that's overcooked. If that comes off from there, I'm short the bet. Okay, Anne-Marie, hope you're learning stuff. Good stuff to have you. Thank you. But I must admit, I thought 121 would hold, to be honest. We got there. But now it's been taken out, albeit only a few pips. I get that. I think it might have been sold at 200. By the by, oh, cheers on that, guys. Just funny. Oh, you're saying to Anne-Marie, beg your pardon. Okay, cheers on Anne-Marie. Yeah, I wait for confirmation, but I think we might get a sell on this one. If it gets up to about another 50 pips, the 200 at holds comes off. Got it. And it didn't have a big stop either. You know, maybe a 60 pip stop with maybe a couple of hundred or so TP, a great risk reward. This could be a nice one on a short. Just wait for the confirmation. Probably get it on Monday. Okay. What's above me, mate? That's only the 10-day. This is the one I'm worried about. This one here. This one here. If it breaks there, shorting it short. I'm hoping to get a better price. That's a long way away. That's 180 pips away. Doesn't look much on this, does it? For somebody on the pound, looks like about 50 pips. That's 180 pips. So we can get it around about there, confirmation, about there. From the throw at 65, 60, something like that. We'll stop up here somewhere. Then we can really maybe get out there. If it breaks that and go in again, take it down there or whatever. But there'll be plenty meat on the bones on that one. No, the browns are 200. The 50's the blue. I hope you all got it, guys. The color's your choice, but I hope you got the 250. That's a must. The 10 is your choice. Like Zeph uses, I think it was Zeph. No, sorry, it was Jethro used a 20. That's up to you. But the 10 I like, so I have it. But the 250, have it. And they're title or a candlestick charts with it, 4-hour, weekly, monthly, half an hour, whatever. Got it. Yes, I'm brought that on purpose because I've learned the hard way on that. You go to another chart, and that looks about 50 pips, doesn't it? That's why I always check, because hang on a minute, that's nearly 200 pips. Doesn't look it on there, does it? Let's try another one to give you an idea. Let's try this one here. NZD USD. So actually looking at that possibility on this one. Now look at that distance there. It's only 70 pips. So just check it out. That's right. Got caught that way. And nearly 200 on one, that sort of 1 inch distance. You remember the old Imperial? A 1 inch distance on it is only 80. See what I mean? That's why I always check it for that reason. Yeah. Just a little thing. I think this is setting up for a sell as well. And I tell you what, I think, what's it? You would have, yeah, that ship would have seriously sold. I wish I hadn't told you now, because get all the guys on board, you'd missed it, and we could be wavy on the way to Bahamas, and you're still stuck in Benoni. Nothing wrong with Benoni, but you know what I mean. We're going to tease you. Okay. Are you going to shoot off, Gerard? Okay, thanks very much. Probably wise, actually, pretty quiet. But I know the Kiwi is slightly stronger than the Aussie, but on a technical basis, I think that's got a possibility. I'm not buying it, I'm selling it. So 650, maybe a little bit more, maybe about stop up here somewhere. Just about there somewhere, and about 75 pips. Take it down to here, something like that. Get a risk reward. I think it's a possibility of a short on this one. Do you want to wait for confirmation? If you do, I do not blame you one iota. But if you want to be a bit of a Rambo, what do you think? I was going to mention this morning up estate until I got my internet problem. But I think the more cautious might want to wait, but I think it's a possibility of that one. I think the dollar being that weak, I think it's not going to be maintained forever. And we've had since October, November, just a month and a half, it's gone up 770 pips. I think it's due for a bit of a pullback. We're not getting indication of DXY that's occurring. So have your eagle eye on it. Have your eagle eye on this one, the dollar yen and the CAD JPY. And to a certain extent, the Aussie dollar as well. Keep eagle eyes on those four. But if you want to be a Rambo and have a go at it, it's a Rambo trade. Yeah. Repeat what? Sorry. This to me, I see the possibility of a short, but it's on the Rambo side. If you want to make more confirmation of the dollar index starting to go back above 106, I would not blame you, because it doesn't seem to happen at the moment. If it does, and you got to stop up here somewhere, and then a TP down here, you get a risk reward. But that's a Rambo trick. If you want to do it, I'll put the RR up. Okay. Get aggressive and you get Rambo. And this is not Hollywood. Rambos don't quite work out like we've got a script writer behind you, unfortunately. In reality, baddies do shoot straight. They reckon actually Roger Moore, just getting off the subject, is the most missed person with gunfire the world's ever seen. Because he used to be in The Saint, and in alleyways, the bad used to miss him. And in Bond, they used to take at least 100 shots a movie out of it, and they always seem to miss. So they reckon he's the most missed person. In fact, if you're a baddie, even a machine gun at point blank is going to miss. So why bother? Unfortunately, in reality, not all the baddies are terribly bad shots. Okay, I'm going to lose my internet. Hear the squeak in the background? It doesn't even last for me for more than about 40 minutes now. So, Clinton, hope to see you just now. Got to get this thing sorted. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, guys, not going to last much longer. Yeah, it's a slow day anyway, so it's going to happen, probably a good day to happen on. Sorry about that, guys. We've got stuff, a bit quiet. Have a great weekend. Don't do anything impatient and daft over the weekend on the trading aspect.